1863, Edvard Munch was born in Norway. His mother died in 1868 from tuberculosis when he was only 5 years old, and he was raised by his father. Edvard suffered from mental illness. His family had many issues, hence the reason why so many of his paintings were dark. He played a great role in German Expressionism and has now influenced many painters to use dark and raw subject matter. Edvard died in 1944 at the age of 80. His best-known art pieces were The Scream, Madonna, and The Sick Child.
Expressionism was one of the type of art forms that Edvard used in many of his paintings. It originated in Germany and was usually used in poetry and paintings. Expressionism was used for emotional effect to show moods or ideas. It was set out to be for more emotional experience rather than physical reality.
Symbolism was another art form Edvard used in his paintings. Symbolism was a late 19th century art movement of French, Russian, and Belgian origin in the poetry and other arts.
Modern art was also another type of art form that Edvard used in many of his paintings. This type of art form was produced during the 1860s all the way to the 1970s. Modern artists experimented with new ways of seeing and with the fresh ideas about the nature of the materials and functions of art.
The materials Edvard used for his paintings were oil paints thickened with beeswax and also oil crayons containing beeswax and Japan wax, as well as a Cassian pastel and a paraffin wax crayon, and at least one gum-bound paint. His sketches on canvas make use of all oil paints and tempera paints including egg and Cassian. He used more conventional techniques, with most of them having one or a few paint layers, bound with linseed oil on a ground formed with lead white and oil on top of a ground made of chalk and glue.
Munch's artwork used sexual subject matter. He used this tool for emotional and physical liberation and his own fascination. He also observed the world around him and his own physiological, emotional, and spiritual views.
Munch used very intense colors in most of his art pieces. His work was more mysterious and semi-abstract. His colors would vary depending on the message of the painting. If his inspiration was something dark, he would use darker colors to portray the feeling of the artwork.
Most of Munch's paintings came from his own pain throughout his life. For example, when Edvard's sister died of tuberculosis, he was devastated and created The Sick Child. This painting shows his sister Joanne Sophie on her deathbed, with a gray-haired woman beside her who is thought to be their aunt.
Munch's art was really directed towards his own life. His own personal experiences is what he painted about. The sick child, death in the sick room, but he also would sometimes create paintings of prostitutes in a gross and unattractive way, like The Day After and Christmas in the Brothel. You can infer that this time period had a lot of prostitution going on. Hans Jaeger, head of a group called the Christiana Bohemian. Munch and Jaeger formed a close friendship, and Jaeger encouraged the artist to draw more from personal experiences in his work.
Paul Gauguin was one of Edvard's biggest influences. Munch took up more graphic and symbolist sensibility from him. Paul Gauguin was one of the most controversial and eventually a renowned artist of his generation.
Edvard expressed his feelings about his painful childhood through painting. It was always just something he would do when he had free time until his passion for art overtook his interest in engineering. In 1881, he began to attend the Royal School of Art and Design. The following year, he rented a studio with 6 other artists and entered his first show at the Industries and Art exhibit.
Edvard's paintings showed a very deep and dark emotion. This was something that people had not seen before, and because of this, he was considered to be the father of Expressionism. Many Expressionists after him look up to him and value his art form and style.
Most of Munch's paintings give an overwhelming feeling that people can relate to now because we all have had the times where we felt overwhelmed and upset. Edvard brought those feelings to life and let everyone know that we all can feel upset and overwhelmed at one time or another.
Overall, Munch was an influential and amazing artist that dealt with many of his own demons, but showed people that it was okay to have their own darker thoughts, and he was idolized for that. His artwork will never be forgotten and treasured forever.